Wait, hang on. Don't do it yet. Don't do it yet.
I already started.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit.
Guess we're live.
All right, we're live.
Hello, hello.
Hey, everybody.
What's up?
Welcome to Redneck Robbie's Dog Pound. We're here. The two originals, well, Comet and Wrangler aren't here. Comet's got girl things he's doing with his girl.
I think so does Ringler, but, his is actually,
Yeah, well,
important.
He's married.
He's married.
Yeah, he's married.
There's actually consequences if you don't spend time with them.
So we brought in Kakarot. He's a PS4 player, unfortunately. He's not on the master race of PC yet.
But we still love him.
He's all right. But and then we got Raw Dog Randy over here.
Hello.
And I'm your host, Redneck Robbie. And we're here to fuck shit up today, boys.
So, happy Friday. How's everybody doing?
I'm good. I'm doing good. I got my vape pen now. Haven't dipped in 7 days.
God damn.
Yeah.
I'm still dipping. I don't know. It's a battle.
I feel like sucking dick, man. It's cool. What about you?
$20 is $20.
Yeah, Kakarot knows what's up.
Hey, man, hand job's still a job,
Yeah, everybody needs a little bit extra money every now and then. It is what it is.
Oh shit.
Oh, my lord.
Dude, honestly though, if there's anything that I'm certain of right now, it's I cannot function without nicotine. Like there's just no way.
Same, dude.
Yeah. Like I don't know if it's just because of the environment that I'm in or it's just the fact that it's just boredom or what, but I could not quit. Like I forget who I was talking to. They're like, "Do you use nicotine?" I was like, "Yes, heavily." They're like, "Do you have any interest in stopping?" I was absolutely not. Well, why is that? I was like, because I don't know. I'm not trying to sound like one of those edgy people that's like, oh, like I need cigarettes, like or shit like that. You know what I mean? But I just mean it like literally. If they were like, you could either quit drinking or quit using nicotine, which would it be? I'd quit drinking.
I mean, I'm sure Kakarot can agree with you on this situation. Say this guy smokes like 2 to 4 packs a day. I'm pretty sure.
I smoke a pack a day. First off, second off, it is definitely boredom. The answer to your question is boredom.
Yes. Yeah. Like when we're sitting around in the kennel and nothing's going on, I'm just like, fuck it, like pack a lip, like, or the only time that changes is when it's like drinking. Like when I got here and started drinking, I was like, fuck, I forgot my cigarettes. Like I have this. I'm pretty sure it's probably the same for you, Murph. Where it's just like you have to pair the two. It's really just like it's not drinking like in and of itself. You gotta smoke while you drink.
That's
right?
That's why I switched to the vape.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because dipping, like, for me, like when I'm playing games on the PC, like I feel like I have to have a dip in my mouth. And playing on a competitive level I play on now, like every time I had to spit, it was at the worst time.
Yeah.
It's like I go to spit, and next thing you know, I got 4 guys shooting me, and I
Yeah.
just like, don't know what I'm doing. But I mean, vaping covers. I honestly can't tell you if it's the nicotine. I think it's more habit now for me than nicotine. I honestly I got 3 milligrams of nicotine in the vape right now. I think I could completely go 0 milligrams.
Yeah.
It'd be all right.
It's the oral fixation.
Yeah, it's the oral fixation.
No,
yeah.
totally. I don't know what it is. For you, Murph, when you smoke, how many times is it when you're craving a cigarette versus like just fuck it, I'm bored, like I'm gonna go out and smoke, like that kind of thing? What would you say the ratio is? How often do you actually be like fuck, like I need nicotine right now?
I like the craving for actual nicotine is maybe 25% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the time, it's like, oh, I'm kind of bored, or like, oh, I just finished a game. Let's go smoke, or like.
So how many times do you go out there to, let's say, like, smoke a cigarette because your boyfriend's out there and you really just want to give him a blowy, though?
I mean, smoking a cigarette and giving a blow is a little bit difficult. There's a lot of risk involved.
That's true. I don't want dick cancer.
Dick cancer.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to get dick cancer without closing that phone news to your balls every day anyways.
Yeah, that's a fact, dude. It's like people that like fall asleep on their phones are like it's a minute number. Like it's less than like 1% are let's just say like 0.75% more likely to get cancer. Like if you fall asleep with your phone next to your head, you're more likely to get a fucking brain tumor. Like.
But it doesn't matter what you do. Like everything you do these days is going to give you cancer.
Yeah, everything is a carcinogen.
If you think, well, the thing is, it's all about I mean, unless it's, I know they were saying they were blaming it back when I read about it. It was free radicals, right? This is what causes cancer theoretically because it passes through everything it hits, happens to touch that one part of the DNA, which they theorize is why 98% of the DNA in your cells is useless because these free radicals pass through hitting the other 98%. But when they happen to hit that whatever percent, it causes mitosis and gives you the cancer. You know, there's free radicals everywhere now.
Yeah, well, that's why it's like they also think cancer is a really genetic thing. For that exact reason, you have genes that are more susceptible than others.
Well, I mean, like everything that's negative right now was positive at one point, and I don't know about cancer, but for example, diabetes was positive during ice age era when we're having many ice ages because we needed more sugar in our blood so our veins didn't freeze. And so like we would produce baby fat and that would replace the insulin and that would maintain a constant level of sugar where the water in our veins wouldn't freeze. But then it became a genetic because of adaptation, you know?
Yeah.
And so now there's still some people that unfortunately get diabetes, and I'm sure it's the same thing with cancer where there's some genetic purpose that's served in the past comparatively to now.
Well, I think what it comes down to it though, in reality, like, you know, this is your life.
Yeah.
You gotta live what makes you happy. Makes you happy. Do it. I mean,
you
know, if being healthy is your thing and you want to live long life, then go for it. But if it's like fat shaming, right? Like the motherfucker enjoys eating food, obviously for a reason, right?
Yeah.
He wants to do it. That's what he wants. Like, let him do him. It may give him a heart attack. But I bet he's gonna die fucking happier than somebody eating fucking healthy food.
Yeah.
I mean, he's enjoying his life. He's doing what
I
he
fat
loves.
shame the shit out of people.
I mean, everybody fat shames, no matter who you are.
Yeah.
I'm fat and I fat shame.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, everybody, no matter who you are as a human, you're gonna judge people.
Yeah.
It's just part of human nature.
My whole take on the fat shaming
basic
thing,
instinct.
Yeah. My whole take on the fat shaming thing, quote unquote, is like I lost a lot of weight to join, and I've started putting a couple pounds back on. I'm noticing it.
Sorry about that, man.
Yeah, it's all good. But my thing is like you can attest to it too, because you used to be in great shape back in the Buds days.
Oh my god, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, but you and I can both agree that like people can be fat, but you know you can also lose the weight if you want to. You know what I mean? Like people get this illusion that they're gonna be stuck being fat. Like I was fat literally my whole life up until I decided to lose weight to join. And that same thing goes where all that's missing if you want to be fit, you can still eat whatever the fuck you want, just as long as you know, exercise and do shit like that. Like one of my best friends back home, when he was like 15, he was 6'2" and he was about 215 pounds. That dude needed 7,000 calories a day.
Oh, I mean, when I was in Buds, man, I can't even, or before Buds, when I was working out, 2-3 times a day based on this program. God knows how many calories. And I mean, I was like Taco Bell for breakfast, maybe McDonald's for lunch, then maybe like a Subway sandwich because I thought it was gonna make me skinny, but really I wasn't no Jared, you know. I mean, it doesn't. In all reality,
I need to get closer to your mic.
In all reality, it comes down to what you want in your life. That's it. It doesn't, just do you.
Yeah.
Do what makes you happy. If you're fine with your body weight and you enjoy the food you're eating, eat it.
Well, it's all about being comfortable in your own skin. It's just like you are who you are. That sort of thing.
I think it's not even just that. It's just enjoy the life you have. People are so concerned with other people's opinions these days, and they're so sensitive to what goes on. Like they don't live their life. It doesn't matter. Like Murphy, right? I know Murphy, and he's not your Kakarot. I know Kakarot pretty well, or I mean, I guess not pretty well, but I know Kakarot.
Yeah.
And I like you, Kakarot. But like, I don't know you well enough or have known you long enough. Like you're still a brother of mine because we served together, but I don't know you well enough to like, if you call me a faggot one day and just decide to leave or fucking fat shame me, motherfucker, I ain't gonna give a fuck. Whatever.
Right.
What do you got going for me?
I mean, exactly. You shouldn't though. Like, I can think of like a whole 3 people in this world that like I actually legitimately care about what they think about me.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I don't. You know what I mean? Like, of course, I like my Chiefs and everything. I care about what they think about my work performance. But like,
give a fuck what my Chiefs think, bro.
But like,
what were you saying though?
But like I have 3 like family members who like I really care about what they think about what I'm doing. But outside of that, like you can say whatever you want to me and it's not going to affect me at the end of the day. And I think that's what most people need to like learn is people talk trash, people shame, and like that's the way the world is. And you getting butt hurt only gives them satisfaction.
Exactly.
To get over that process is just to let go, like just quit caring.
Yeah, I mean, it's the only time, like, for me, and same, you know, like you're talking about your family members, like, my family, you know, and people that are close to me, those are the opinions that matter.
Yeah.
You know, like, my mom knows my sense of humor and my language is piss poor, and she had a problem with it for a while, she just kind of got over it, you know?
Right, same.
But, like, if she were to say something, like, I extremely disappoint her with that, like, that's when I'm going to be like, I need to look at changing.
Yeah.
You know? Like, that's somebody's opinion to me that matters.
Right.
You know? But, like, you got to, and, you know, obviously there are people that are watching the podcast. Like, you may have some deep-rooted family issues. You know, if you have some deep-rooted family issues and your family isn't, you know, the one's opinions, obviously, you take, then don't take them. Like, you know, it doesn't have to be your family, but there is somebody out there, I'm sure, you know, opinions matter.
Yeah.
You know, like,
no, totally.
You just got to find your niche and do you. Like, you want to fucking do heroin, man? Do it. Don't do bath salts, though. I don't need no more zombies walking around the street.
Yeah.
You know, you just gotta do you. I'm not, you know, whether they're bad choices or good.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
don't bomb people though. Don't do things that affect hurting people, I guess, either.
Yeah. Well, I think that also just boils down to, you know, the opinion that some people, so those people that their opinions matter to you. You know what I mean? Like those people that actually have significance to you. You know, it's wise to also base your decision making in something that they would approve or disapprove of. You know what I mean? So that's where I kind of root a lot of my decision making is like my dad's opinion really matters to me, probably like the most out of anybody else's. You know what I mean?
Well, I agree with that.
Yeah, a lot of times where where I'm kind of caught up in a dilemma of things I should do, I kind of think about like what my dad would do in this situation, and that tends to lead me in the right direction. Granted, that's with, you know, real important life decisions. Versus like should I take this extra shot or something like that? Like, fuck yeah, just, you know, go for it. Fucking send it.
The problem is, so funny you talk about it. So my dad's a very big influence on my life, and more reason why, like, I love my mom and she's still a huge influence on my life. My dad's not my biological father, you know.
Right.
And when I found out, I was extremely hurt about it. And when I started to mature a little bit, it kind of hit 16, 17, like I just kind of, like, in between, like, 12 and, like, 16, I kind of just kind of played him off, right? Because I found out that he wasn't my biological father.
You found out when you were about 12?
Yeah.
Okay.
So my biological father called. He was like, can I speak to Susan? I answered the phone.
Uh-huh.
He was going to want to speak to my mom. I was in the living room. They were in the kitchen. Now, all I remember is all of a sudden my mom started crying. My dad's in there with her, and she just starts yelling. Granted, this guy never paid child support.
Right.
My dad told him he didn't have to. Like, he's got it. It's fine. You know, whatever. So I was really upset when I found out at first, but I was also young.
Right.
Then when I turned about 16, I really had time, I guess 4 years to think about it, if you think about it. A long time to think about it. You know, and it kind of hit me like, he's been there for me. He didn't have to be there for me.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't. He's treated me as his own son.
Yeah.
So I ended up, my last name used to be McCarter, right? And then I told my dad I wanted to adopt me.
Right.
I want his name. So, I mean, for me, like, he has been a massive influence on my life. Like, literally, like, everything, like I'm an asshole, you know, just talking shit. And my dad's the same way. I remember I would come home and my dad would just be like, "What up, fucking queer?" Like.
So what's your dad's name?
Same stuff. John Robinson.
So John, yeah. So if I'm like sitting there, something like that, and I'm just like, "John's a queer,"
but
he'd like start to join in that kind of thing.
He's the biggest, but he's also the biggest teddy bear.
Yeah.
But you fuck with him. This is a 300-pound guy, back in his prime when I was young, that could bench press 650 like it was nothing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and the best thing is too is, I go get fucked up. Fucked up, and we look for fights.
Yeah.
Like we're ready to fight people. I mean, that's how it should be. Like you should model your life after people's opinion that you care about. You know, people that you look up to. You know, and somebody I look up to. You know, he's not perfect by any means, but that's how it should be. Now, this podcast, this is probably the most serious conversation we've ever had on this podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, you're in for a real special moment here, there, Murphy.
Normally, this is all about doing hookers and blow.
So
normally I've comment on the podcast, so I mean, there's that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
So, what about you? What about you, Murphy? What's your take on all this?
So, like, my dad raised me pretty much by himself. Like, my mom, you know, was pretty bad shit, and like, I had some pretty bad experiences with her. So for the most part, I was raised just by my dad, and he was a very successful person and like has always worked his ass off to make sure I had everything that I needed, right?
Yeah.
And so I started basing my decisions off of him, and I wish I based more decisions off of him and I wouldn't be in the situation I'm in now, but like you know, I want to be successful enough that I can support my family and all their needs.
Yeah.
And like I know I'm gonna have to work hard. Like my dad showed me, like he did law enforcement for 30 years, and he worked when I was younger. He was working 3 jobs, and then when my mom and him got divorced, he had to work 2 so he could take care of me. And like my dad bought a house in the mountains with cash. Like this he's set for the rest of his life, and honestly probably has enough money to have me set for like half my life, right?
Wow.
And like I want to be like him, where like he did jobs that didn't make much money, but he planned everything out, not 10 years in the future, but like 30 years in the future, you know what I mean? And like that way, everything was set. And so like I also based my life off of my dad and like everything he's always done.
Yeah.
I agree. I see what
and like on the note where Robbie said you should base your life off of somebody that you're like their opinion matters to you. I don't think you should do that. I think you should base your life off of somebody who was successful and you're close to.
Okay.
Because sometimes, you know what I mean? Sometimes the person whose opinion matters most isn't somebody going down a path that will lead you to success.
Yeah.
And like on the note, you should do what you want to do. But at the same time, there are paths that are going to get you killed at an early age, or paths that are gonna, you know what I mean? And like,
no, totally,
you should do something that should make you successful, and you should not only that, you should one up whoever you're looking after.
I think
you should be able to like look at them and their mistakes and one up them. You know.
I think paths about being successful though is such a broad term, because when people, well, it is and it isn't. Because when people think about being successful in America, at least, all they think about is making buku money, right? A lot of money. That's what being successful is. But to me, I mean, in true reality, being successful is what makes you happy in life. You know?
Because there are plenty of guys that
no, absolutely.
There are plenty of guys that are making shit money and busting their ass, but the life that they've built for themselves outside of work is just worth it. You know what I mean? Like it's such a cliche thing, but there's so much truth behind it. Yeah,
I completely agree, because that's the reason I'm getting out. So when I talk to people, talk to people, they're like, you need to stay in. You're doing excellent at your job. You're good at it. You know, you're an EP sailor. Blah blah blah. I'm like that, but this isn't what I want anymore. Right. This was a great tool for me to go be successful on the state side or back in home as a civilian, but I want to be with my family. It doesn't matter to me if I'm working at fucking McDonald's, you know, where I'm struggling to make ends meet. I want to be home. Yeah. With my family. At least if you got to struggle. I'll figure out when I get there. Like my family isn't the best off. They're really good now, you know. They're good. I wouldn't say they're really good now, but they're getting by. They're good. No, they're past getting by. Yeah. But they're good now. They're not filthy rich, but they have enough money. But obviously, we don't own a house. We're happy with a duplex. Yeah. We live in a duplex, but we have no. Yeah. But we use our money to go travel. We go to Sturgis every year. You know, like my dad's bikes for the whole family. All this stuff, like we don't. Our lives aren't in that house. Our lives are in that family. Yeah. You know. So that's what I want. That's my success. Like as long as I can support my family and do stuff with them, you know, that's what I want. Yeah. You know, that's me. But and that's what people also I don't think get, because the American way is the way you're successful is if you're making big money.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
No, I definitely think success is different. Like everybody, right? Like my success is to support my family and be happy where I'm at. Like I like riding motorcycles, so I want to get a motorcycle, and I like off-roading, so I want to be able to have money to support that. People see money as the base of success because everything you do requires money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
and so
totally.
like a success is different for different people, but realistically it's based on money. And like that's just true. Like, do I want to be filthy rich? No, but do I want to be able to support my family and ride motorcycles and off-road and have fun?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree.
The point I want to reach financially is I don't want to be rolling in dough. I don't want to own a fucking, mansion that I discover a new room every once in a while. I mean,
You walk in your closet, bro. I didn't know there was a bed in our fucking closet.
Five years,
what is
five
this
years
doing?
Babe,
man?
did you know we had this room? No, but the best way I've heard it described is I want to be well off enough that I can go out and get a fancy dinner and not worry about the check.
Oh, I
Right.
Get
agree.
that? Like,
I mean,
just
you don't
like-
want worries. You don't want to worry.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree. And
Like-
that's what I want. It's not. I don't need to be extremely rich.
yeah, like
But that money, I want to be to the point to where I can do what my family wants.
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm after.
But I
too.
also don't want a fucking family that's like, hey, Dad, will you buy me a Porsche for my 16th birthday? No,
Yeah.
motherfucker. Well, who the fuck
the
is
shit
you
that
are?
I learned, and it's really funny. It's really funny because my family has always managed to make everything meet. We've always managed to get what we wanted, that kind of thing, What I've learned is especially me. I was a cocksucker in high school, and I went through 3 cars before I was done with my first year of college. I totaled all 3 of them, and
Holy shit.
I was a piece of shit. And my dad still always managed to get his hands on a car for me. Not like he bought me brand new cars, or he bought me used cars and shit. But the fact that every single time I went through a car, my dad was like, "Fuck, well, he still fucking needs a car," and was able to find me another one.
Yeah.
I was spoiled that way. I can guarantee this.
See,
My kids are gonna pay for their own car.
I paid for all my stuff when I was young.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, so I paid for all my stuff when I was young, right? And I'm glad that my parents made me do it now that I'm even older than I am. Paid for my car, my insurance, my cell phone bill.
Yeah.
Everything that I want, I paid for. My brother and sister don't fucking do that now.
Yeah.
They get everything they want. I think my mom and dad always say, like, we had one good kid and then we fucked it up.
Yeah.
But I mean, and you think about it though, like when you're raising kids these days, that's probably the best way to do it, because you're teaching them before they turn 18, you're teaching them some form of independence. Right?
Independence and responsibility.
Responsibility, independent. You're not just throwing them out there, because the schools don't teach that.
No.
No, it doesn't. But I think we need to change the subject. We've been pretty serious, and this hasn't been a serious podcast yet.
Unless 90% of the time when we're at work, we shit around and just talk shit. But then 10% of the talk is the most serious conversation I've had in a long time.
This is.
So
Well,
I think we covered that base.
I think we did good. All right, so here's what we're gonna talk about. All right, I wanna hit this one, because this is always a fun story, no matter what you're talking about. Alcohol, you can't drink anymore.
I want to hear Murphy go first on
Yeah, let's Kakarot.
Oh,
What alcohol or alcohols can you not drink anymore? This is going to be a good story for Murphy, knowing his history. And
well,
what happened?
Fireball.
All
Cannot
right.
All right.
drink Fireball anymore.
All right.
So before I was a bouncer for college bars in like the Lubbock area for Texas Tech college bars, right?
Is that a gay bar you were working at?
Listen, you know what? $20 is $20. I'm gonna stick that argument.
Yeah, I got you.
No,
I'm not
but
judging.
so
I just want everybody to know
So
who
this-
you are.
so this dude owned like a monopoly of bars, and they were all like college based. Like that's where the tech kids went, and like it was almost a set schedule. Like you knew where the college kids were gonna be on what nights and stuff. It was the same shit. And there was one night I had off, and it was like a Saturday night. Everybody was at conference, right? It was big bar Saturday night in Lubbock.
Right.
And so we're all hanging out, and I was with one of my best friends, Dylan. He was like up there visiting me and everything because I moved from Dallas to Lubbock, and he was up there visiting me. And so we were like, oh, let's see who could drink more. Why not, right?
Right. That always
We thought it was gonna be a
always leads to great things.
great idea. And I took like a drink of beer, downed a fireball shot, and like I was going beer fireball shot, which was apparently a horrible idea. And within like I think it was my third or fourth fireball shot. About 5 minutes afterwards, I blacked out and I came to just puking and like having the worst time. And like I've drank fireball before, I don't know what happened. And so I was sitting out front of a bar, looking like a dumbass, throwing up on the floor, having like cold sweats, and I was like, huh. And now I cannot smell fireball without like puking.
Oh yeah. No, dude,
Yep.
I fucking feel you there. That's fucking trash.
I had a bad experience with Fireball, but I still drink it. And Tezza. So Tezza, all right. So Tezza said when we got to this subject, he said, vodka, it sends me stupid like the Incredible Hulk.
Interesting.
Interesting. Yeah. I don't want to know what Tezza.
That's what I'm drinking right now. Actually, it's 100 proof.
It's like. So, for everybody, so Tezza has been a very long supporter of my stream, just so everybody knows, and he's been with me since I actually started streaming. He's a fantastic guy. I tried to get on the stream. He's going to be on the stream next week. I'll make sure of that. But anyways, all right.
Let's see here. All right, so for me, of all things, is Long Island iced tea.
No.
Yeah.
No. That is my go-to drink.
So here's my story behind that. So I was working as a cook. And my buddies were all throwing a house party, and I, usually would get off at like 11:30, sometimes midnight. So anyway, I was running late. It was about midnight when I got out, so I just was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go straight there." I always kept a spare change of clothes in my car, so I just went there, showered, changed up, and got down to the basement where everybody was. The way the house was built is the basement actually kind of fed into the garage. It was built on a hill, so the garage was like built like lower than the house, like down the hillside, and the basement fed into the garage. Anyway, that's not important really. Just the garage is where all the fucking alcohol was at. So anyway, I get there, and my buddy Colin, he's like, hey, glad you could make it, that kind of stuff. I didn't tell him that I hadn't eaten. I hadn't eaten it all. And so he's like, you better catch up. And he pours me this big ass, like 34 ounce cup of, he's like, it's a Long Island. He's like, with my own personal twist on it. And I was like, oh boy, all right, sick. And I chugged the whole thing, man, because I thought, it's just a Long Island, I'm going to get fucked, I haven't eaten it all, so I'm going to get pretty drunk. Right. No, and then he was like, dude, so I was like, so what'd you put in that? And he goes, dude, he's like, I just filled it up about halfway with liquor. He's like, and then I put they make like concentrate, this Long Island iced tea flavor, and you just pour that in, and it like cuts out the middleman. So I drank like over like a 32 hour, I drank about like 17 ounces of fucking like just mixed liquors, and all I could taste was the Long Island iced tea taste. And then I go outside. He had a creek behind his house. There's like a waterfall that went into a creek and then went down the hillside. I'm sitting out there, and then I just drop onto all fours and just start like deep heaving, vomiting, and just vomiting and vomiting and vomiting. And I kind of like blurred out for a bit, and then I stumbled in to the doorway, and they gave me this big ass like 2 pint, the giant beer mugs. They gave me one of water, and I just slammed it, threw all the water up everywhere. Went out again, and then woke up, and I dropped the glass and shattered it. And then they were walking me inside, and I was like, at this point, I was like fucked up. And I was like, dude, like, am I going to die? Like, I tried to convince one of my buddies to call an ambulance because I thought I had alcohol poisoning. Because, like, I've blacked out, but I never blacked out in such detail. Like, I just felt everything kind of, like, crumble away. And then I just fucking woke up on the couch. And then everybody just started filling me in on the stories, and then shit just slowly came back to me. Long story short, man, if I taste Long Island iced tea, I just fucking just start getting all queasy and shit. I cannot fucking drink it.
I feel so bad for you, man.
Dude, it's like me and wintergreen.
Long Island iced tea is definitely
I can't do wintergreen either.
Fuck yeah, bro.
I love wintergreen.
We're fucking, all right, side story here. So, fucking, we're out in the middle of nowhere, and then so Robbie's like, all right, he's like, get your dog out. We're going to train your dog a bit. And then he was like, pack some wintergreen. I was like, dude, he's like, just fucking do it. And I'm like, look, if I put in a lip of wintergreen, are you going to stop giving me shit? He's like, yeah. It's like, fine.
I've been riding him.
I put in a fat ass lip of wintergreen. And the whole, like, it took me like 5 minutes. Like, Robbie will tell you that I did go over into the corner and I was like dry heaving and shit. And so I kept it in. And I started training with my dog with the fucking thing in. And it was just the fucking worst experience of my life. But to this day, he doesn't give me shit for it anymore. So props for being honorable. But dude, yeah, fuck. What's your wintergreen story, Murphy? I got to hear this.
Man, I ain't so, my alcohol story.
Dude, yeah, we'll get back to yours. But the wintergreen thing, I got to hear
it. So I've been to like, at like 13, I started smoking at 12, right? And at like 13, my cousin was like, you can't fucking put a lip in. You know, you're a pussy, whatever. And I was like, okay, cool. And so me and my stepbrother put like a fat ass lip in, like damn near a horseshoe. And I kept it the whole, like a whole 30 minutes or whatever, never threw up. And my stepbrother did. So later on, like probably when I was like 17, I think, I bought this can of dip off a dude, and I like shoved a fat ass lip of wintergreen in. We were sitting in class, and like I think it was a school resource officer came in, and I was like, oh shit! So I swallowed it.
Oh no!
Oh my god!
Oh
yeah.
God. That's how I got my first bad wintergreen experience. Was actually in buds. So we were on a run, and so in buds. Yeah, you had to find something that kept you awake, right?
Yeah.
So dipping it, that's why I picked up dipping was in buds, so it kept me awake. And I kept my pinches small because I didn't want them to find out. And so all I remember, now I finally got back to wintergreen, is I'm running, and an instructor, Robinson, get over here. So I run over, what the fuck is in your mouth? I'm like, nothing. He's like, really? Looks like you got a fucking lip in. Right? He's like, pull the fucking can out right fucking now. So I pull it out. He's like, open it up. Open it up. Sit on the ground, right there in the sand, right now, right now. He's just grilling me. I sat down. He's like, push up position, mouth over the can. Right? So I'm sitting over this can. He's like, all right, here's what's gonna happen. You're about to hate fucking life. Every time you go down, you're gonna take a big gulp of that shit, and you're gonna swallow it. And we're gonna be here until it's all in your fucking stomach. So I get about halfway down the can, and I mean, my fucking throat is on fire, right? And I just fucking throw up all over this can. He's like, I still see fucking half a can in there, let's go. Made me finish this whole fucking can of dip. Bro, for 6 months, the fucking looking at a can of wintergreen made me want to run to the bathroom and throw up. Couldn't do it. Finally,
that's how bad it was for me.
I got back on it after a while, but I mean, yeah, no, I feel you there. Wintergreen's a rough flavor.
Dude, it's not pleasant at all.
Now, my worst alcohol experience though would have to be with Jack Daniels. I still can't drink Jack Daniels to this day.
Really?
Still cannot.
Everybody's got a bad Jack story.
Yeah,
Let's hear it.
So I went to a party with some canine family, right?
Uh-huh.
And we were drinking. This is the first time I had drank with them, right? Because I was still underage technically at the time, right? You know, but I always got the speech like, if you don't have to serve, you don't have to drink. So I was like, all right, let's get it, right? And now, I wasn't gonna be no bitch,
right?
You know, I'm not new kid. Like I ain't gonna be no bitch here, right? So I start going in. We're having a good time. Fucking all I can really remember, right, of this whole thing is when we finally went to bed. I went and laid on this guest bed, right? And as soon as I hit there, I got the spin so bad. I felt like I was doing the 180. Like the bed was like complete 180, right? Right? And I fucking threw up as I was laying down, all over my chest, armpit, everywhere.
Yeah.
And I fell asleep in that. I wake up to one of the guys that's my ride home with throw up dried and caked into my armpit hair, my chest, and all over this bed. I'm hungover. Everything hurts. Like I'm
that
dying.
kind of a hangover.
I'm
where
dying,
you're just,
bro. I'm dying, and I'm like, I can't leave this sheets with throw up all over. You know.
Right.
and I'm still drunk but hungover.
Uh-huh.
So I take these sheets, not thinking, throw them in the washer with throw up still on it. I get a fucking call like 4 hours later. He's like, bro, my wife just fucking threw up. I'm like, why? She opened the washer. I ate a calzone before I went to this party. She opened the washer, and there's beef and mushrooms just caked to the sides of this washer.
Oh, my God. Oh, fuck. You sick fuck.
To this day.
man.
That's such a texture in my head right now. I
To
don't know.
this day, I cannot drink Jack Daniels, man. It was the worst experience. Oh my god, it was so bad.
Oh, okay. I got a good one for you guys. So let's all be honest with ourselves here.
Yes, I'm gay.
No, yeah, we're all gay, maybe. We all had previous lives before joining up, but I'm assuming we've all partaken in reefer, correct?
Yeah, but it was 30 days before my deployment. It was the first time I ever.
Oh,
did it.
right, that's right. Shit. Oh my God. Tell you what, let me rephrase that. At least maybe Murphy can test this. I want to hear what is your craziest your craziest fucking weed experience.
Oh, I'm down to this. My first one was the worst.
I definitely want to hear this. Murph, you got the table. Let's hear it.
So, I actually am I'm damn near positive I'm allergic to it because the first time and the last time I ever smoked it, I threw up within 5 minutes. Yep.
Really?
No.
Oh shit! All right, I've not.
Do you think you're allergic to the plant itself, or do you think you're allergic to THC?
I'm probably allergic to THC. If I had to take a wild guess.
Well, I mean, it could have just been the fact that you're inhaling a substance you're not used to. Maybe something like that.
Maybe you should try
an edible.
Or vaping.
Yeah, that's true.
They have vape
in a controlled
THC.
environment.
Yeah. And then you would know. It could be something to do with just the plant. I don't think anybody. I don't know anybody that's ever.
Yeah, I've really never heard of a
THC
THC allergy.
Yeah.
But,
well, you can be allergic to weed though.
yeah.
I knew an officer that worked at Garland, right? And he would get hives getting close to weed.
Really?
So it's kind of like a drug dog.
Dude, fuck it. Bring him over to MWD. We'll get him a kennel. And
just walk around. Hey man, just walk outside this kennel. He gets hives, bro. I know he got marijuana.
Yeah, no.
How? He's got hives.
And then one time a judge was like, I don't believe you. So they brought out weed, put it next to him, and he fucking broke out in hives within 5 minutes. And he was like, oh, never mind. I get it now.
That's
understood.
Crazy.
So, but I wonder. I don't think you could keep. Yeah, I'm sure you could, but you should try one time, just either just pure THC.
Yeah, or an edible or something, something small.
See what happens.
Maybe actually do the vape because if he eats an edible that. Actually, no. Try an edible because what happens is when you inhale, it's a THC high, it's a certain type of high, and then when you do an edible, it's digested through your liver, and or it's processed through your liver, and it emits a different type of chemical.
Would it be better with a vaporizer maybe?
Well, a vaporizer is still just straight THC.
Yeah.
Whereas an edible, the only way I even remembered this was
reaction.
Yeah.
It's a whole different kind of compound.
The only reason I've even retained this knowledge is from the fucking Joe Rogan stand up where he talks about it, where he's when you inhale it, it's one kind of high, and then when you do an edible, it's hydroxy metabolite or some chemical like that, and it's way more potent than THC, which is dude, to this day I don't fuck with edibles. Because every single time I did an edible, I had a fucked up experience.
I'm going to.
For me, I had this thing I swear by. As soon as I get discharged, whenever it is, I'm going straight back to it. I was trying to get Robbie on the stream for when he gets out. It's called the Magic Flight Box, and it's made by a company in California, and they're these wooden boxes that just use a battery, and they have this screen that gets heated up by the positive and the negative ends of the battery. It's super down to earth, and they have all these positive inscriptions all over the box and stuff, and it's just it's really cool. It's kind of rustic and shit. Anyway, I love them, and on top of that, they're very efficient. You can put in about 0.15 grams, and you grind it up finely, and you'll get like 3 separate sessions out of that one load. It's super efficient. And
That's
on top
crazy.
and on top of that, the weed that comes out of it is the outside has been cooked to the THC, but what happens on the inside of the plant that's still left in there is the THC that's within the plant has been activated the same way how when you make an edible, it becomes activated. So you can eat the dried weed that came out of it, and it functions like an edible. So I saved up, and I had like 5 grams of that vaped weed. And you can cook it, you can throw it in with food and eat it, and that kind of stuff. And for me, it tastes like really, really bad, like when you're eating popcorn and that little bits of skin that come off the kernel are in there and they get stuck in your teeth and shit.
Right.
Excuse me, I have a gas.
Yeah.
Excuse me. It's got that kind of consistency, and it tastes foul. So what I would do is everybody would try different ways to eat it. You like mix it with peanut butter? No, I'd still taste it. So what I started doing is I would just take a mouthful of it and just drink water and swallow it all, and it was gone. So anyway, I put 5 grams of this vape shit in my mouth, and I just down it with water. And so anyway, I'm like feeling good. About 45 minutes goes by, and so I planned it out. So I ate it, and then I was like, all right, sweet. I've got all these games downloaded on my Xbox. I'm going to play Assassin's Creed 4. I'm going to go pirate ships and shit while I'm stoned. It's going to be great. And I have time before it kicks in. I'm going to go to McDonald's. I'm going to get some food, some drinks, and it's going to be a good night. So anyway, I get in the car, and I'm in the drive-thru, and it's taking a long time. And I'm like, oh, I got plenty of time. I didn't think about that. I really was kind of on an empty stomach. I have a trend of doing that, of forgetting to, use substances while I'm on an empty stomach.
Oh, man, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm feeling
Yeah.
off one glass.
And so anyway, I'm in the drive-thru, and then everything just goes everything just slows down, and I'm like, oh, this isn't good. This is not good. So I get to the window, and my buddy's working. I'm like, what's up, Ben? He's like, how's it going, man? And he's like, you all right? And I'm like, dude, I'm fucked up right now. And he's like, you all right? And I was like, I don't know. I start giggling and shit. I had a nice buzz going, and I was like, this is going to get real. I write out a nice buzz for like 2 hours, and that was it. I'm like, well, that's disappointing. So anyway, night goes on. I play my games and all that shit, and I go to bed. Well, fast forward, I wake up at like 7:30 that morning on a weekend, and I'm just sweating. And my heart rate is like, my heart rate felt like it was like 2,000. You know what I mean? Like my heart was just a constant beat. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just start having anxiety, and I get up, I can't walk straight. I'm trying to walk down the hallway. I'm just going side to side, bouncing off the walls in the hallway. And I get to my roommate Brian's door, and I start banging on the door. We had a house, and he answers the door. He's like, "What the fuck, man?" And I'm like, "Dude, like, you gotta help me. Like, I'm freaking out, Brian. I'm freaking out." He goes, "What's up?" And I'm like, "Dude, I don't know. I have no idea what's going on." He's like, "Are you on something?" I was like, "No." I was like, "I didn't do anything." I was like, I had an edible last night, and that was it." And he's like rubbing his eyes. He's like, "What kind of edible?" I was like, "I had some AVB, already vaped bud." And that's just like the slang for it when it's from a flight box. I had some AVB. He's like, "Okay." He's like, "How much?" And I was like, about 5 grams. And his eyes just go, and they just shoot open. And he was like, "What?" And I was like, "I had like 5 grams." He's like, "Dude," he's like, "1.5 grams gets me fucking like a vegetable." And I was like, "Stop it. No." And so I was like, "Oh my God." I'm like, "What should I do? What should I do? Like, should I go to the hospital or something?" He's like, "Dude," he's like, "Relax. Like, it's weed." He's like, "It's not going to kill you." He's like, "But you're going to be riding this out for like 7 or 8 hours." And I was like, "Oh my God." So I go out on the front porch of my house, and I was just in nothing but a bathrobe. And I just felt like I paced the porch for like 15 minutes, and I went and sat down inside. I just drank some water and shit. And my dad shows up, and my dad was the landlord, actually. We were renting the house from him. And he's like, "Look," he's like, "I need your help with some work." He's like, "People are going to be renting the other half of the building next door, so I need your help." And he's like, "You all right?" My dad's like super anti-drug. And I was like, "Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm just really hungover." He didn't care that we drank. He knew we were all underage, but my dad's a good guy. Like, drinking's fine, but no drugs in the house whatsoever, that kind of thing.
Drugs
anyway,
are bad, bro.
Yeah. And so I'm helping him with all this work. He's like, "Man, you're really hungover." I'm like, "I know." And the whole time I'm like thinking about who came up with the concept of a shovel while I'm like shoveling mulch and shit. I was just fucked up. So anyway, I just had a terrible fucking time. And then later on that night, you know, I'm outside getting stuff from my car, and my neighbors came up to me like, "Hey, man," they're like, "Are you all right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Why?" They're like, "Oh, did some shit happen?" And I was like, "No, why?" And they were like, "Well, I got up to go to work this morning, and you were just in your bathrobe, and you paced the porch for over like an hour and a half." And I was like, "Dude, I was out there. I was out there for like 15 minutes." They're like, "No, you were staring at the ground, pacing the porch, and talking to yourself for like at least an hour and a half." And that's just when I woke up. And I was like, "Oh my God." So not only did I just kind of like black out or just like kind of coast through time,
Right.
I don't fuck with edibles. And that was the like third time. And the first time that I had an edible was somebody made me brownies when I was at work, and I ate one. I didn't really think anything of it, and I was like, yeah, like an hour and a half went by 2 hours, and I started to get a buzz. And I was like, yeah, it's not really doing much. I'm like, can I eat a second? By the time I get home, I'll be feeling good.
That's your first
Yeah.
mistake.
Ate a second one. Oh man. And then that night at like 11:30, I was couch locked to the point where I couldn't open my eyes, where I was awake but I couldn't open my eyes. So I just had like a controlled panic attack with my eyes closed for like what felt like an eternity, but was really like 5 minutes. So I just will not fuck with edibles anymore. It's for me, it's all inhalable, that kind of shit. I will not eat edibles because that shit hits me like a brick wall. And I started thinking about
That sounds great.
I started thinking about all the poor decisions I made, and I started thinking about what hell is gonna be like and all that shit. So
the worst experience I ever had was the first time I actually ever smoked. Right. I probably chose the worst group of friends to smoke with ever.
Yeah.
Probably chose. The
I hate that
worst
shit.
group, right.
Right.
So I show up, and I mean, I'm nervous, right? Super nervous, but I'm excited at the same time, right? And so first thing they start passing around is a joint. It goes around like 2 times, and I took 2 or 3 hits each time it came around, right? And then they roll a blunt, and you got one guy in this room hitting a gas mask bomb at the same time. Like they're heavy hitters. So they're passing around this blunt, and it went around about 3 times. I took about 3 hits each time. And as this blunt's going around, they're giving me 1-hitters too, of different types.
Yeah.
Right? And so, like, and I'm not feeling anything. I've never done it before. Like, I told the guy that took me there, like, hey, let me know when to stop because I've never done this before, right? All this hits me at once. And I mean, I am so stoned. I am laying on the couch like a potato.
Yeah.
I can't move. Like, and all that's going through my mind this time is like, just breathe, man.
Yeah, I know exactly.
breathe.
Like the Nick Swartz and shit. Yeah, fuck yeah.
Everything will be all right, man. Nobody knows you're too high, right?
Hey,
Like literally, so I'm laying on this couch. Like, if I take my chair,
smile at that guy.
Yeah.
Oh, yep,
if
that
I
was
take
probably
my
the worst.
chair, I'm laying on this couch like this, right?
Right.
And then fucking Joe's like, "How you feeling?" And it takes all my brain power to take my head from this right side to go.
Just smile at him.
Yeah, like
Can't
just
talk. Just
smile at him, right? And then like obviously they can tell I'm way too high, right?
yeah.
And then Joe's like, "Bro, I gotta go home, you know, because he's got a kid and shit." He's like, "I gotta go home. Like, I got a wife and kid." I'm like, "Bro, I can't drive because I drove him there.
Right.
Like, there's no way I can drive.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta go." I'm like, "All right, fuck it." I get up, and I just remember every step I took felt like it was traveling fucking thousands of feet down. It was just like,
Yeah.
I'm like, ah! I get in this car, man, and so it's a small town. It's a smaller town. It's like it's not like massive or any crazy, but it's about the same size as Rhoda during winter. About 30,000 people.
Yeah.
Right? So most of the roads are about 25 miles an hour. I'm taking the back roads. Like I'm gonna. Here's this place, bro. I'm going like 15 miles an hour. I thought I was a fucking NASCAR driver.
Yeah.
Speeding down the road, like just my heart's like, boom, 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 boom. You're fucked, boom, boom. Like I'm going so fast, and Joe's like, "Bro, you're going 15 miles an hour." I'm like, "There's no way. I'm only going 15." So I get him home, and then I decide like, to take the 45 back. I'm doing like 23 miles away back to my house on 45-mile-an-hour road. I make it home though, finally, right? I walk in and my sister's still up. And now, granted, when I go home, it's like a party for everybody back home because we're all really close. So we usually go out every night, even on the weekdays when they got to work, and get fucked up, right? So I get back and I am just stoned out of my mind.
Well, you're fucking gored. Yeah.
My sister's on the couch and I walk in. She's like, God, you're drunk as fuck. And I'm like, with this big smile on my face, no. She's like, yeah, you are. I'm like, no, I'm high. And she's just like, are you serious? Because like they're like super
anti-drug, yeah.
at this time. And I just walk up to her all giggling like, it's okay. I still love you.
Dude.
Mine.
Oh, that's fucking rough. That sounds kind of that sounds kind of fun, honestly. Like I live pretty much out in the middle of nowhere. Believe it or not, for anywhere besides New York City is Canada, just for reference to anybody who's not from New York. So I live in a really small town of a couple thousand people. It's just really rural and shit.
Oh, so you're in the countryside.
Oh yeah. So one of my favorite things to do is I live in the bottom of a valley, and the hills on both sides are really steep. They're carved by glaciers when the ice age was when the glaciers were receding, when the ice age was over.
Right.
So that, we have seasonal highways that go across the top of all the valley, and I'm talking like 50 miles of dirt road just through the forest. It's beautiful, and the hills are tall enough that they go above the clouds. So if you get up on top of them, especially at night, all the light gets held down by the clouds, and you just see these beautiful stars and shit. So my favorite thing to do is I'd hop in my car, I'd open up the sunroof, and I would just go I had a Subaru, and it was a Legacy with an extra 1.5-inch lift on it, and it was like all-terrain tires and shit, and it was all-wheel drive, so it could conquer just those dirt roads like it was nothing, and you could go fast on them, you wouldn't feel anything. So I used to just crack the fucking sunroof, or open up the sunroof, and I'd crack all the windows, and I would just like fucking turn the orange lights on, because you could see it was so dark that you could. And when the moon would come out, you could see everything without the headlights on. That was beautiful. And I would just throw on music, and I would just go tear ass on those dirt roads, just get ripped. Those were great times. So you get either worst experiences or some of the most surreal experiences of your life with that, just depending on how smart you are about using it. And it's the same shit with alcohol. Alcohol, you can have terrible experiences where you vomit all over yourself and leave mushrooms and pepperoni.
I think alcohol has way more room to have worse experiences off of.
What's the worst part? You have too much weed and you just become a potato and you giggle a lot and everything's funny. Or if you have too much alcohol, you have to go to the fucking hospital, or you get in your fucking car and kill somebody. That kind of thing. You know what I mean? Nobody's fucking died from smoking too much weed.
I think but there's a lot of drugs that people haven't died to, because it's just like, have you guys ever fucked with hallucinogens like shrooms, truffles?
Not really. What about you, Murphy?
Acid?
What?
Have you ever fucked with hallucinogenics like shrooms, truffles, acid?
Nope.
All right, so
I have too much depression to do that, dude.
You're worried you're gonna revisit it or something?
I get
Yeah.
So I
feel you on that.
And one of the funniest experiences I've ever had with them. I wasn't even on it at the time, right? So it was one of my friends, and I'm at his house, and I didn't know he took it. And I was playing games. He was laying in his bed, and all I hear is, I'm like, bro, are you okay? He's like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm like, all right. And then 5 minutes goes by, same thing. I'm like, bro, what is going on? And he's like, no, I'm good. And then all of a sudden, 5 more minutes later, same shit. And all of a sudden, he's like, bro, I just remember how to breathe. I'm like, what?
Oh my God. Jesus Christ.
I'm like, what? I'm like, what are you on?
Yeah.
I dropped a lot of acid. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Dude, people just do dumb shit on acid. Like at the house I lived at in college, we had this old wallpaper, and it was like roses that were so picture like a vine, but it's rosebuds all over it. You know what I mean? And it was just this super old generic 60s wallpaper that's been up in the house since we bought it. And so my buddies they all, at the time I was scared to try acid and all that stuff. I'm still pretty, I don't know how I feel about doing it. Anyway, So my buddies, they all do it, and I'm there, I'm sober. I was just like, I just smoked and drank and stuff. And they all just pulled up chairs and just stared at the wallpaper for like 2.5 hours.
Oh, and that's how it will be. Like acid, like with acid, like so I've done it, and like acid, like you don't do it to get high necessarily how people do it.
You do it to have an experience.
It's not even just experience. It's like a very spiritual trip, right?
Yeah.
It's very if you do it spiritually, because like you can so all right, so like with Murphy, right? He says he has depression issues, right? So you can use, as long as you understand how it works, what it is, and what's going on, you can take shrooms, truffles, or acid to get over what's going on in your brain.
Mm-hmm.
You can have that bad trip, and as long as you understand that you're doing it for that, to help you get past something, it can be extremely beneficial to that person. But you have to understand the powers of the hallucinogenic. A guy that I've taken them with, right? The first time he ever took them, and I warned him, I'm like, we did truffles. I was like, hey, you have to understand, like, you can have a bad trip if stuff is happening in your brain. There's stuff's going on. But if you're good, let's take them. I want you to have a good time. But just beware, like, this could happen. And so I'm very happy-go-lucky. Like, I don't have a lot of issues. I'm not very, don't have things that go on. He ended up having a bad trip. And so I was tripping too. And I told him, I was like, hey, man, I could see it because he was just, like, slunched back in the chair. And acid's not something you just normally slunch back in the chair and you're, like, got this, like, demeanor that, you're just, like, not having a good time. I'm like, hey, man, whatever you're going through, you got to find your way out. I'll be outside if you need me. I went laid on my hammock, right? About an hour later, because when you're on Hoosier, time passes. Feels like 2 hours has gone by, but really it's been 5 minutes, right? So I've been laying in my hammock for God knows how long, just enjoying everything, right? He comes out, and all of a sudden he's really happy, right? So we start talking about it. He's like, I'm glad you told me that because, like, I feel so much better because I got through it.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I realized the issues, and I worked through it in my brain because everything's it's very psychedelic, Like, I mean, it's crazy, It's like music. When you play music on hallucinogens, it becomes orgasmic.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like but you have to respect. You have to respect it basically,
mm-hmm.
and understand what it can do for you, and what it's to me it's my favorite.
Listening to music?
No, just acid.
Oh,
any hallucinogen, I love it. It's my favorite drug to do. It's just the experience you get on it is like, all right, you like smoking, right?
Yeah.
It's probably 10 times more powerful of the experience you get. If I was going to describe it, like when you're smoking, you don't really get more feel, touch, sight. You just feel good.
Mm-hmm.
You're relaxed, right? With hallucinogenics, like this red that's meaningless on this bottle, all of a sudden becomes beautiful,
mm-hmm.
just gorgeous. You're like, wow, or like touching something like these ridges. You're like, wow, just weird things. Very enjoyable. I mean, I remember I was laying on this couch, right, and like I felt like all of a sudden I'd been sucked into this couch. Like I just couldn't move. It was so comfortable. I got this blanket on me, and then I got this table next to me. I'm just touching because it's got this like robe on it, and it just felt amazing. And I'm like pulling the blanket over and throwing my feet, like kicking, like straight down. Feeling like I'm just digging into this blanket. Like I'm getting farther and farther in. Like, whoa, dude. Like just having a great time. Like it's an absolutely amazing drug. Like I don't know. I think shrooms, truffles should definitely be legal because again, they're natural drugs. Like alcohol. It's like alcohol is a natural drug, and if I were going to choose, like I like alcohol. Don't get me wrong, I love alcohol. You can't tell me this is safer than weed and truffles. You can't argue that.
Because both of them are naturally
People
occurring.
die from alcohol. Who have you heard that dies from weed and shrooms?
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah.
People die from the wrong kind of mushrooms because they're poisonous, but not the actual psychedelic stuff. I mean, all effects are so beneficial, and it's not even like, so weed is more medically beneficial via like cancer issues, like stuff like that.
Helps
right?
people eat and all that shit.
It's like epileptic seizures.
Seizures,
like it helps
epilepsy
with seizures so much, right? But then acid, there's actually a lot of testing that should do with acid and shrooms that help brain focus, because when you're coming down from acid on the peak, I remember I came back and I played games one time, and I probably never played so good in my life because I felt so mentally, like, you do acid, you're gonna be up for like 18 hours. Like, cause when you come down, you're just mentally focused. You're like, bah, 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 right?
Yeah.
But they've done testing with it, and people that were depressed that took acid and worked through the problems had a better life after.
They're starting to do trials with LSD for
LSD,
people with PTSD.
Yeah, because it helps that way.
Yeah.
It's such a power, and that's what I'm saying. It's so spiritual.
Yeah.
You know? It's you can't just take acid to get fucked up.
Right.
That's not the way to do it. You take acid just get fucked up, you're not gonna enjoy the true basis.
Yeah.
Of it, you know?
Yeah.
Like
my friend.
Yeah. Go ahead.
My friend, I had a couple friends in high school that took it to like get fucked up. You know what I mean? Like everybody was like, "Oh yeah, girls, do you get fucked up? It's a great time." So a couple of my friends did it to like get fucked up, and it was like literally like a story that you would hear like from a book. I don't know how to explain it. Like, so they did it at their house, and then like they ended up running away from this dragon they like imagined, right? And so they were running away from fucking dragon, and it ended up in the middle of the woods for like 10 hours in the woods hiding from a dragon, tripping balls. And then like when they were coming down, they were like, wait, like, that was all in my head. And like I've heard so many bad trips like that shit, like it's just discouraging, you know what I mean?
No,
not
totally.
only that,
but that's the thing, like so when it comes to bad trips and stuff like that, it's you have to do your research about it. You know,
you can't just dive into it.
No, you can't just dive into it. Like, so like it's like before I took my first, like I started with shrooms and then I went to acid, right? Before you do it, you have to do your research. It's a very spiritual drug. If you understand it, then you're good, because you can, as a depressed person, have a bad trip, like I was saying, but then come out so much more positive because you worked through the issues. You know, it's like, because when you do stuff like that, at that point, you let go. You know those like social barriers where you care? You let go of everything. You really do. Like, it doesn't matter. You don't care what people think.
Yeah.
Right? So at that point, when you have those barriers, those stuff, and you have stuff going on, everything's gone. Now you can actually face the issue and get through it, and you can find out what really affects you, because it's just you at this point. Like, it's like another way to put it is like every time I've done it with somebody, and I'm sorry, I'm like, bro, like I'm in my own world, you know, and I'm like trying, and I wish like that person that was doing it with me could connect, but I'm in my own world, so something to me that doesn't affect them is different to them, you know. It's like it helps you. If like a depressed person, it can help out so much, but at the same point, you have to understand why you're going into that trip. You know, if you have problems and you're going to take it, you have to understand you're going in there to face those problems.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a rough trip, but you're going to come out of it and be so much better.
Yeah.
Know? Same point. Like if you go in there because you want to have a spiritual happy trip, it's not to get fucked up, but you want to have a spiritual good time, get to know yourself. You want to have a spiritual time with your friends, right? That's what you take it for. You don't take it. It's not like drinking alcohol. You don't go sit there like, hey, Cement Man, let's go get fucked up, bro. Let's just go get. It's not what you do it for, you know. I mean, it's such a.
You know.
As long as you understand,
you know, it's like
a good thing. Go ahead.
You know, it's like a weird like spiritual like experience I had. So I'm not a spiritual person. Like I believe in fate. I believe there's like a higher power, but like I'm not spiritual in like to include like religion or anything, or like, you know, like I'm just not, I don't practice it or anything.
I feel you.
But like, so when I started going to like AA meetings, right? It like I've always been a person to hold the negative in, and I never knew how to let go. Like there's a whole bunch of people in this world that just don't know how to like let go of negative stuff. And for some people, you know, it can be LSD, like you were saying, like acid trips help some people. Cool, weed, sometimes like other things. And when I went to like AA, dude, there was just one day I was just like, I was sitting there listening to people's stories and stuff, and like that was my favorite part. Like telling your story helps, like it makes you feel better, right? There's a group of people that understand, that have a voice. But like listening to other people's stories was like really what I benefit from. Like that's why I didn't like military AA places, because it's people that have similar stories to me, and I want to hear these crazy stories.
Yeah.
And that's a
And
good thing. That you know.
and like yeah, and like no, but one day I was like listening to this dude's story, just talking about like life and everything, and like how he devoted himself to God in order to like get away from alcohol, and like he was successful at not drinking anymore. He was successful from escaping his addiction, because that's what it, you know, it's a disease, and it's like a real addiction. And anyway, this like it just clicked, dude. Like I cannot tell you in what words. Some people call it like finding God or Jesus or whatever. Like, but it just clicked for me. Like I was sitting there and like I was thinking about all the negative shit in my life, and then just like boom, 1 second, I just felt better. Like the weight of the world came off my shoulders. And anytime I'm like having time or whatever, like I'll read the book or something, or like talk to some friends about my experiences or whatever. And like I think everybody should find a path that can help, because all of these people, like I was, you know, like there's like you don't think you can escape depression, and in one sort of reality you can't like depression will never go away. Like you can't fix the past. The past is the past. The way you like the way you let depression like let go of depression and stop letting it control your life is just letting go of the past. Like realizing the past is the past, remembering the experience you had and learning from it, but letting go of the negative impacts and just focusing on the positives.
Yeah.
And the experience.
It's,
you know, like,
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
It's great. Like I suffered from it. You know what I mean? Like I suffered from it. So like that's why I drank. That's why I got addicted to alcohol. The same reason I'm probably never going to do acid or LSD is because I would guarantee get addicted. If I find like when I find things that can help me, I get addicted to it.
Right. You find methods to kind of distract yourself from facing things head on, I guess.
Yeah.
But at
and
the same time, you got to find, like you're saying, right?
Find a positive way to channel it.
Positive to channel it, right?
We had a. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So like, you got to do what helps you.
Right.
Right. So whether it's a now, obviously, wary of what I say on the type of drug choice you choose, whether it's a drug, you know, like I think there are some drugs out there that are very beneficial to this.
Right.
You know, whether it's weed or some kind of psychedelic, I can see it very beneficial. And one reason is both of those drugs are not addictive. Now, alcohol is actually addictive, and the reason why is because the sugar's in it, right?
Yeah.
The sugar's in alcohol. So that's one reason alcohol is addictive. So you gotta have a drug that's...
it's much deeper. It's much deeper than that.
There's much deeper than that, but that brain-wise, what your brain craves is the sugar amount you're getting into it. Now, what you crave, technically, I guess, spiritually, because alcohol can still be, I guess, spiritual.
Well, that same, what you're getting at is the same reason why some people call marijuana addictive, because marijuana itself chemically is not addictive, but the altered mind state that you experience.
So let's go through the chemical side. Chemically, those two drugs are not addictive, but alcohol is chemically addictive, right?
Right.
Because of the stuff that's in it. But you have to find what works for you, right?
Yeah.
But you also have to manage it, right?
Yeah.
So this all comes down to you as a person, you know. You got to have that willpower to know what's going on.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, the substance in and of itself might not be chemically addictive, but the reactions that take place within your body and brain that you like, that generally lead to dopamine release and oxytocin, can become addictive. The same way that people are addicted to porn. Some people, they have to watch porn.
Well, like on that,
it's a dopamine release.
Exactly, and the same thing that go ahead. I'm sorry. Sorry, I know there's a big ass delay with you because you're not here, so it's the why. Sorry. Anyway, Not trying to cut you off by any means. The delay is a little bit there. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that like there's like addiction as a whole. There's more to it, but pretty much the basis of addiction is your brain releases dopamine in such a high amount that nothing can like compare to it. Like so your brain has an expectation. Like if I drink a Mountain Dew, my brain expects a certain amount of dopamine to be produced from it.
Right.
Now when you drink like alcohol or you smoke weed or you do LSD or you go to AA meetings or whatever, you know, if your brain releases just this ridiculous amount of dopamine from the experiences that you get from it, it can be an addiction. And now it might not be chemically addicting like alcohol is, because alcohol is like an actual chemical addiction.
Right.
But like I can get addicted to anything. Like I'm addicted to work, right? If I find a job I love working.
Yeah.
I love the positive feeling you get from it, right? But like jobs aren't addicting chemically, but my brain releases so much dopamine from working. It's like, shit, let's keep doing this. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And that's like why some people get addicted to like working out and shit, like the meatheads. They're addicted to it because they're like, oh my God, look at me. Like the dopamine release. They're like, I did this, that, and they keep pushing. Like,
but it's the same reason A&E meetings work, you know?
Yeah.
It's and for most people, it's finding that connection to somebody that's got an issue relating to their problems. Dopamine's released,
right,
and it helps you get past that.
Yeah,
right. And if you think about it, because a lot of, like you're saying, when you drink, dopamine's released.
Yeah.
Right? So if that kind of addiction, by going to AA meetings, if dopamine is released, you're getting the same thing, but in a better outcome.
Yeah.
So
it's like I with Murph on this, where like one of the few times that I can remember like going like, oh my God, I love doing this hard work, is my boss who owned a farm hired me to paint his cabin. And he had a cabin out in the middle of the fucking woods, in the middle of a valley, because he owned like over like 2,000 acres. You know, it was like a 20-minute drive through his trails to get to this cabin. No cell service, nothing. I had to bring everything with me. You know, chairs, water, or my chair, all my water, food. No power out there, no running water. So when I had to sand it before I could paint it, it was all by hand. It turned. Excuse me, God, I always get the hiccups when I'm drinking. Excuse me. So it turned into about a 60-hour job, because I had to hand sand the entire outside of the cabin, windowsills, walls, you know, everything under the framework, all that shit. Then you go through and paint it on a ladder and all that stuff. Dude, being out on the top of a fucking hill overlooking a fucking river valley, just like I could look out to, you know, and see like, you know, 15 miles away. I could, you know, just see everything, hear everything, you know, hear all of nature. There was no cars, no planes, nothing. No, you know, it was beautiful. And just being out there by myself in the middle of nowhere and just working was like, I was stoked. I was out there as soon as the sun rose. You know what I mean? I would work till 5, 6, and you'd come out there and see me and we'd chat. I'd get back to work, and then I'd sit there and I'd sit on the roof of the cabin and drink a beer at the end of the day and just chill. And that was like I was like, if you ever need this fucking place painted again, like call me. You need anything done out here, call me. And I ended up working on that farm. And it was just like, I've never enjoyed a job more than where I just get disconnected from everything and just go out and work with my hands. Like, it's a great fucking feeling. And that's ever since then, that's why I wanted to have my own farm ever since.
Oh yeah.
It's such a good feeling.
All right, so we've been talking for about an hour and a half now. About time to wrap this up.
True.
About time to wrap this up, boys. This is probably the most serious conversation I've ever had.
I hardly laughed this whole podcast. This is great.
Yes, this is more serious. So, do you guys have anything else you want to put into this podcast before we close it out?
Philosophy.
Philosophy?
Yeah, I mean, if we're having a serious podcast, philosophy.
I mean, just quick. I'm not trying to go into a whole nother conversation. We do philosophy another week.
I could talk for hours.
I know.
On everything like this.
Nobody want to watch a podcast for 18
Feel the
hours.
love.
I'm always feeling the love with you, my boy. I'm saying, if there's anything else you want to say right now about what we've talked about, get it out right now real quick so we can.
Well, I just thought this was a really good. Just honestly, out of the ones we've done, this is one of my favorites. Like,
this is a good podcast.
this was good. It was wholesome, and it was, all jokes aside, like, it was pretty serious, and honestly, I don't got much to say. I enjoyed it, and I look forward to the next one, and hopefully Murph can be here for the podcast in person next time.
We can get him in for another one since other people don't want to show up.
Oh, I disconnected for a second. So I was gonna say thank you for letting me on the podcast, and if y'all want to do some more serious podcasts, I prefer this way over like funny or whatever. If y'all decide to
we can
get more, let me know.
Mix it up.
Oh yeah, bro.
We can have you out next Friday, man. I'm down for it.
Me too. Let's do it.
So,
all right.
I got one thing for the chat. Anyone that's been watching, any things you want to see change, any advice, improvements, things you want in the next podcast, whatever it is, either feel free to send me a message, whether you personally know me, like Teza Booze, my lover. Anything you got for me, either message me on Twitch, leave in the comments right now. I will check them as soon as we are in this, and we will work on it.
Hell yeah.
We definitely
it's a work in progress every day.
Yeah, we want to make sure you guys enjoy this. We enjoy being here for everyone that's watching. So thanks everybody for that tuned in.
Spread the word.
Yeah, I'm Redneck Robbie. I got Raw Dog Randy here. And we got Kakarot tuning out. Thanks for joining, guys.
Have a good one.
See you later.